Okay. Hi, everyone. It does seem a very long time since I've spoken with Livia, not only just in the GP scene, but no racing. It's the most unusual period. Have you ever, Livia, encountered no racing for such a long time?
No, I mean, as you said, it's unusual and it's not something that we could even imagine actually, because I don't think anybody could yeah, I imagine that these kind of things could happen, that we would be locked down completely in the world and not, it's not even about racing, it's like not doing anything, not working, not be able to see family. I mean, I didn't see my parents since Valkenswaard, so it's been months that I didn't see my parents because we are not really allowed to travel far away still in France at the moment, and they are living 700 k's from me. So yeah, all these things is just, it's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And put that into context. You are a team owner of Team Honda 114 Motorsports, and you have riders, and you have crew, you have staff as well, Olivia. Um, I I looked at you. You brought on board two new Australian riders for the 2020 season, Nathan Crawford and Bailey Malkowitz, if I pronounced it correctly. Um, it kind of feels like these guys were dealt a tough blow. You brought them over and they arrived end of 2019. Um, it's a pretty brave move, I suppose, but then again, I suppose it's an opportunity for both these guys in a lifetime, Livia, to race under a European GP team. Can you tell us how that process evolved just to get them over, and yeah, and then the crunch hit, so to speak.
So we, with Giacomo Garibaldi, that is with me on everything, every choice, is because he's the one that created everything, of course. With Giacomo, we are really looking everywhere in the world, even America. We look at the young talents, and Australia a lot, and we just look at the lap times, look at the videos of the races, and we try to find new talents like we did with Mitch Evans last year, because Giacomo and I are in the paddock since years now, so we know all the young European riders that are around. So when we look at our budget and all the riders that we know already, we think that it's better to go and find some new talent and give them a chance. And this is what we did last year, and this is what we did two times this year then, because we took two Australians this year with Bailey and Nathan. And we are actually really happy about the way it's going since we created the team, because they are really motivated. As you said, it's not easy for them to leave their own country, leave family, friends, like all everything that they know, to come in Europe and race in a new team. Like everything is different. So they are really motivated, and they are good kids, really respectful. I really love the way they are thinking. I don't know if it's all Australian people, but I know already four families, and they are working all the same. They are really respectful, really focused on racing, and I just love that. It's so easy to work with them, and at the same time, as you said, really hard for them. They arrived here end of 2019 during winter, so they had to adapt because it was summer in Australia. So they had to adapt of bad weather, mud, mud tracks, rain, all these kind of bad things that we have during few months. We just started racing. They started to feel a little bit better, start to know the staff, know the team better, start to make some friends also here around. And they have to go back in Australia for a while for some crazy reason. So it's a tough one for them.
Um, can you because I know that your focus is in helping them settle in, feel comfortable within their environment, knowing that they are away from all that was familiar for them, and also that 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 goal really and the objective is to get them to be able to ride to the best of their ability. Um, what are the teething, I suppose? What are the steps, Livia, that you help them settle in? And was this a difficult process for you and Nathan and Bailey, or do you find that their enthusiasm takes over?
No, I think it's not that hard because now we know a little bit better than the first year, of course.
Mm, mm,
So we have also more staff now because we have a fitness trainer, we have a motocross trainer with Eric Sobi, plus me that I have a little bit more time than before because I work faster than I was doing before on all the paperworks and
yeah,
organization and
yeah,
everything. Now it's much better than the first year, so I have more free time on this. So I have more time for them. Actually, I have more
mm,
time to go on the tracks during practice than I had the first year. So with all this person around, I think we do, I won't say a good job because they have to say that for me, but I think they feel good, like when they arrive, I take care of them, take them to the supermarket, all the places that we have around just to show them everything. If they need anything, they can just call me anytime. And then the fitness trainer takes care of all the cycling, gym time, all this, plus Eric at the tracks. So the most of the time, they are never alone and they have
yeah,
always someone to take care of their needs. So, and of course they have free times where they can do whatever they want. That's no
yeah,
problem. But I mean, I think they are always surrounded.
yeah. Okay. Um, do you feel in that preseason training and in the winter, and especially those preseason races that your team went to? Do you think there is that pressure that the riders feel? Because I mean, it is an amazing opportunity, and it's probably a lifetime opportunity, Livia, for them to make something and gain some sort of foothold in Europe. Given Australia is a completely different ball game when you want to achieve world championship. Um, did do you feel that they put pressure on themselves, or how do you overcome it?
Yeah, I definitely felt that pressure on them, with them. I mean, the pressure they put on themselves. Because if we take them separate, like for example, Nathan is last year in MX2,
Mm,
and we know how hard it is to find a
mm,
ride in 450. So he definitely knows that if he doesn't show nothing this year, he will not get a ride in
mm,
450
yeah.
because we know that it's hard. And but he has also the example of Mitch, that was here last year. He was
Mm,
supposed to stay 2 years with us in MX2, but since he made great result, he just got the ride like this with
mm,
the
yeah.
450 HRT,
Yeah.
which is great for him. And I'm so happy that, as you said before, that all the spirit of the team, all the goal of the team is working because it's
Mm,
definitely what we wanted. We wanted to find new riders to give the possibility to Giacomo to get good riders on the big team. So it
yeah.
definitely worked last year with Mitch. And Nathan knows that. So he knows that if he does well, he has this opportunity, but he needs to do well. So it's so
Mm,
much pressure for him. In only one season, we are talking about few months to,
mm,
like bet on a full career almost. So
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it's hard for him on this, but we tell him every time that he's a good rider, he's working really hard. And I'm
Mm,
sure that if he takes the time to learn everything in Europe, by the end of the season, I mean, it was before the COVID and all these breaks, but as I said to him, if you take your time with 20 races, I'm sure you will do good. Just take your time. And it's hard for him. I mean, I was a rider before, as you know, and I can imagine his position as well. Like with the girls, we were almost always playing the championship on the last moto, and it's kind of the same for him now. Like he has to do everything, and it's hard. But okay, we are working on this, and I'm sure he will have the time to show his potential, and I hope for him to find a good team next year. And to do some podiums before we does, but but I'm sure he can do well. And for Bailey, it's again different because he's young. He's only 18, and he knew already Europe. He came already in Europe, so he knows already the riders that he wants to fight with. The rider of his age and all this, he knew them already. But I think he didn't expect the rhythm between all the riders to be so close. I think he expected the top 5 to be really fast, and then a gap, like it's probably on a national championship in Australia, because I mean, I know it's the same in France. You have some really good guys up front, and then you start to have some kind of amateur guys that are riding fast and good, but still it's not the rhythm of a GP. And on the preseason races, I think that he got some pressure because during time practice or even the first moto, he got passed by people that he didn't even know, probably. And this makes pressure on him, like, wow, there is a lot of guys riding good over here in Europe. So I think it was kind of surprise for him, I guess. I might be wrong. It's only my point of view, but I think it's a little bit like this. And then I think that with the pressure, he crashed in Mantova, hurt his knee. So after, it was another problem that we added on the pressure.
But that just goes to show you, Livia, how your racing career is worth gold, because you can put yourself in their boots, and without even exchanging any words, you can sense what their emotions are, and straight away pick up how to ease the anxiety, or break that tension, or offer a different perspective, perhaps to break the nerves. Do you feel that a lot, Livia, that you can cross over your racing career to the role that you have now?
Yes, definitely. All the years that I did as a rider are definitely helping me today as a team manager, because first of all, I know what they need. I was there before, so I know what they need. I know what to do to make them feel good. I know what to do to put them in a position that when they arrive on a race, they only need to think about riding and nothing else, because I'm trying to take care of all they need. When we arrived on the first GP, I told them exactly what they had to do, when, how, and all this, so it was easier for them than just arrive and try to discover everything and all this, because I know that this is a loss of time and energy and all this kind of thing. So definitely the way that I was before is helping me today. And also on the point that now when they do something wrong, in their opinion, like when they are not riding good or they had a bad start or something, I know what they feel. I definitely know what they felt. I mean, when Nathan crashed in quali race in Valkenswaard, and he didn't ride that well, not the way he knows, not the way I was seeing him during all the winter. He was sitting in the back of the truck, and he was just seated at, like closed face. And I just sat next to him and wait, because I know that in this kind of moment, you don't need someone to tell you, hey, you didn't do good. I mean, you know it already. Like, what I'm supposed to come as a team manager and be like, oh, you did a bad start, and you did this, and you did that, and it's wrong, and you should do that, and he knows it already.
Yeah.
you know. So I just stayed next to him and wait that he starts to talk, and then we just talk about how we can improve that moment. I said, tell me what I can do to help you to not arrive on this point again, you know,
Yeah.
like, why are you so stressed, why you are not writing as you know,
Mm.
why all this, you know, like, tell me what's wrong, tell me what I can do, and then we work on that.
Yeah.
And I think that I can do this because I, during my whole career, before I was in my own team, so I was my own team manager, so it was easy. But before that, I had this kind of moment, you know, like where you know that you did everything wrong, you know that you wrote as your grandmother and everything was bad, and you just have someone coming and pushing on that button, you know, like, hey, you did wrong. Come on, I know. So yeah, I think that there is a lot of things that are helping me now to be team manager.
Yeah. And we'll go on to it in the next question, but in only 2 full seasons, you've already proved your success. We have You had Hunter Lawrence in that 2018, and then in he scored a contract under Geico Honda in America for 2019. I mean, that that in itself tells you, Livia, that the steps that you have put in place with Garibaldi as well, and then you followed it up the following season with Mitch Evans. So there's definitely a talent which is not automatic. We often see world champions who switch over to the role of team manager of a factory team, or bringing up juniors, and that switch over from racer to role model doesn't automatically work. And
Oh, true. True. But also, I mean, I was already team manager when I was riding as well, you know.
yeah,
So let's say
yeah,
that the step, I did it step by step because I was on factory teams when I was riding, like factory Kawasaki. Then I started to change a little bit my vision of what I wanted when I stopped the GPs. I was working with butt racing.
mm,
So I
mm,
started to be a little bit like, teams are good, but it's not what I need, you know. So I started to do my own team slowly, but for myself at the beginning, you know, just to be able to choose exactly what I wanted, choose my staff, choose the parts, choose the partners like sponsors, and be able to work the way I wanted. And I started this full time in 2014
mm,
when I stopped completely with bud racing, and then I start to do my own team with Kawasaki, and this until 2017. So
mm,
during a lot of years already, I had to organize the staff, I had to organize all the parts for the team, find what was the best options, and so all this job I already started. It was much
yeah,
much smaller, definitely, because it was for me and another rider, another girl that was racing
mm,
French World Championship for me. And at the last years, I started with Axel, a rider that are in good teams, like really professional teams, factory teams. And you know, only this part of the life of the rider
mm,
can't be team manager in MX2 the year right after.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think
mm,
it would be possible. Even for me, it's not. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. It's just like this these years that I did half time rider, half time team manager,
mm,
helped me to do what I'm doing today.
yeah. I suppose, Livia, it gave you that sense, that business sense of, because you were running a business, and you had a budget, and you had to make it work. So there were financial implications on the decisions that you were making, because it was also your career as well. Um, let's just take a look at your team. This was a an edit done at the beginning of this year. Let's have a look at your 3 riders.
So here we are, 2020, third year for Honda 114 Motorsports. We are getting ready for the season. Two new Australian riders for the MX2 World Championship. So we have Nathan, 22 years old, with really big ambitions. Last year in MX2, so he really wants to show that he can do something. Then we have Bailey, a lot younger, only 18, but full of talent. So I guess that he will fight really hard to show this to everyone and hopefully get some top fives or even a podium. I think it's possible. And then the young one, Axel, Frenchie, that will race again in EMX 250. Hopefully this year with some good result, but he's still 15, so hard for him, but we believe in his talent and we will help him as much as we can to get some great results.
So let's, Livia, let's have a look at the first two opening rounds that we've already had. And then it kind of like all turned to disaster. But both at Matterley and Valkenswaard, both Nathan and Bailey. Bailey sort of surprised me at Valkenswaard in that race too. It was, you know, like
definitely.
And, yeah, I mean, given the wow, yeah, I suppose given his age, but also given the track and the conditions, I thought that was pretty amazing. But also Nathan did as well. Like the race one didn't go, how he wanted to, but then he does dig deep in those second races. What's your overall thoughts on those two opening rounds for both your riders?
So as I said before, Bailey hurt his knee in Mantova pre-season, so he did not put points in Matterley because the pain was too big and so it was hard for him to race. We made the choice with him, Giacomo and his father, to race without looking at the results, but just to give him a little bit, like the feeling of how a full weekend of a GP is working. We could make the choice to let him rest. But we made the choice to race without looking at the results. So no points, but he did the job, finished both motos. So this is what we needed to arrive better in Valkenswaard. And Valkenswaard, as you said, second moto was just crazy because he was actually inside the crash at the start. So he didn't crash, but he got stuck. So he started almost last.
Yeah.
And I'm on the top of the pit lane, trying to count a little bit. Where are they? And I'm counting. And I arrive on 9th. And I'm like, it's him. How is that possible? And I promise, and I told him actually, my first thought was like, it's not possible to cut the track here. But I didn't. I mean, in my head, it was not possible to start almost dead last and come back 9th in the first lap in Valkenswaard, except if you're Jeffrey Ellings. It's just, I don't know. I couldn't imagine that. So after that, okay, he lost a little bit the rhythm because of his fitness, because of all the injury during like the knee injury. So he didn't finish top 10, but with his speed, if he had a good fitness, he could definitely be top 5. Definitely. Wow. He was really fast. And Nathan did good in Matterley. Unlucky a few crashes, bad start. We have to work on some things. And Matterley, again, really unlucky. I mean, on 3 starts, he crashed 2 times, and it's not his fault. Like we have seen the videos and it's definitely not his fault. He couldn't do anything. It comes from the back and they all roll over him. So he was pretty unlucky, but he's definitely a fighter. So in the crazy Valkenswaard that we had, because even when you hear the Dutch guys, they all say that it was one of the worst Valkenswaard in years. I think they both did a good job.
Yeah, for sure. And I looked at a couple of black and white photos after the announcement of COVID and lockdown and everything was really hitting home, and you made the decision, Livia, that it would be best for both the guys to go back home. Bitterly disappointing, and I suppose in hindsight, Livia, this was a good decision for you because it was an uncertainty on how long do we not do anything. Um, how did you manage that process?
Yeah, it was a hard decision because we knew what was happening in Italy. So we had
Yeah,
Italy that was a little bit in advance of France. So we knew that they started the lockdown in Italy. My Italian mechanics told me that it was really bad. They couldn't
yeah,
even go to the supermarket normally, not allowed to go out even for a walk or anything. So when it starts to be like this in Italy, we were like, okay, maybe in France it will be different because in Italy they lock down only a part of Italy.
yeah,
Um, and when we are in France, we are completely in the southwest, close to Spain. This place is not really. It's definitely far away from big towns. You know, like there is not a lot of
yeah,
people. We are not close to each other. You know, like you could be in Paris or something. So
yeah,
I was still believing that where we are, it would be fine.
yeah,
We have private trucks around, so I was not really worried. But then in the news, they start to say that we would probably get a lockdown in France, and I understood that to not have any problem, they would lock down all France and not only the big towns.
yeah,
So when they start to be like this, I was like, okay, so if you really think about it, they are living in a one bedroom apartment close to the workshop without family, without
yeah,
friends around.
yeah,
So it's cool when you have a full program for the day. You go run the morning, you go ride, then you go to the
yeah,
gym with the
yeah,
trainer. We often go for dinner or something, all the staff, you know, like so we take them, you know, on the weekend. We just, you know, we just try to keep them on a social life, you know.
yeah,
But then you hear that everything is closing, no restaurant anymore, no public area, and not even allowed to go to see your family, as I said before. So I said,
mm,
small apartment far away from everything, that will just get crazy. And I was
mm,
thinking that it
yeah,
would be for 3 weeks or 1 month maximum. It was finally 2 months. So
yeah,
so I think they also wanted to go home anyway.
did
Um,
they? Yeah,
so we all made the choice together, and they left just before the lockdown.
okay, okay. And I mean, if you wanted to find a silver lining, Livia, I suppose it's given a bit of time to recover from, yeah, some little niggles. And no doubt the guys would have kept up some sort of physical fitness while they're at home. Um, do you have any time frame, Livia, for them to come back over, or is it still uncertain?
Yeah, for the moment it's a little bit it's unsure yet because okay, so all the borders for internationals are in France are closed until the 15th of June.
Mm,
There is also the Australian government that decided that they are not allowed to go out of Australia still at the moment, except working reason. So we are waiting the 15 because anyway, it's not possible to come here until the
yeah,
15,
yeah,
and then we are working with some,
yeah.
you know, paper exceptions and all this. So in France, already helped us on this, you know, to prove that they have to go back in Europe to do
Mm,
their world championship. So we are working on papers. I guess that they will be here before, let's say, mid of July for sure.
mhm,
Um, I mean, if they are here end of June, beginning of July, it will be good enough because they are riding back there in Australia. They are
yeah,
working
yeah,
physically, so I'm not worried. I know that they are workers, good workers. So
yeah,
I know that they are not just, you know, sitting in the couch over there playing. playing video games or something. So I have them. I have them on WhatsApp often, and I know that they want to be back and ready to race. So it's just a matter of papers.
Yeah, yeah. And in a way, it's really to their advantage, and they're not going to waste this opportunity. They're just not, because if they do live here, they won't get it again. You know, yeah. Can we just touch back to because how you set up that strategy with Garibaldi, that basically to nurture those younger riders, like a feeder system, if you like. And bringing in Hunter Lawrence, do you think in that first year, do you think that was super key, or you already had the strategy in place? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the story with Hunter was just crazy, because when Giacomo started to talk to me about this project, it was 2016. And I was still racing. I was just world champion. It was in Assen. He came to me to congratulate me for the title, and he told me all this project. He said, I need a young team to raise my future riders. I looked at him and I was like, oh, yes, but I'm world champion just now since 15 minutes. And it's a hard decision for me to, think about this right now. And he said, yes, but what you do with your team is really good. And I want to put two young guys with you. I give you a bike for you, no problem. And you just take care of all this. And we do EMX 250. And I said to him at that day, I said, okay, listen, I'm world champion. I don't want to quit on that. I will do one more season next year for sure. And probably another one in 2018. And I don't want to take EMX 250 with me because it's too much work. I know the work it is for me. So if you add 2 extra riders, I will do everything wrong. I will be worse as a rider. I won't have the time to get ready as much as I need if I want to be world champion. And then it will be bad for the kids as well, because all that time that I'm practicing, that I'm working, that I won't have that time for them. So I said, thank you for the opportunity, but I refuse. 2017, he came again. And he was like, hey, I really have this project. So if you don't do it in 2018, I need to find someone else. Oh, then it was another pressure, Plus all the fact that it was the end of my career. I knew it. I knew that I wouldn't do 10 more years. In my head, it was more like, okay, either you refuse this one to do 1 more year as a rider, and then you don't know what you will do. Either you just stop 1 year before, which is not that bad, because I have nothing to prove anymore. Yeah. 1 more title is not going to change my life, definitely. Even if, okay, of course I want one, and I was working for that, and I would love to be 10 times world champion, definitely. But at the end, it's not what will make my future. 2 or 3 or 5 is not changing anything. So that's why I decided with Giacomo to stop my career at the end of 2017 and start the team. But at this stage, it was only EMX 250. And we started on the project. I started to count budget, to tell him what I think and how I want to organize it. And we proposed that project to Honda. And Honda said, yeah, that's great, but I want you guys to do MX too. Okay. So we worked all again. It was during the GPs, and I was riding on Saturday, Sunday, and I was doing all this on Friday with Giacomo. But so we kept working on that project. And so we showed a new project with MX2, showed that to Honda with a list of riders. And Hunter was not on the list because Hunter was confirmed with Suzuki for 2018 already.
Yeah.
So we start to work on that, and And then all that story with Suzuki quitting with Hunter in 2018 and Hunter signing already with Geico for the year after, Hunter really wanted to be on a Honda.
Okay.
And definitely didn't have experience, budget, like nothing. I had nothing to take Hunter in the team. At that stage, I said to Giacomo, I said, Giacomo, it's going way too fast. We started on a project with 2 guys in EMX 250, and now we are talking about Hunter Lawrence that won GPs or at least podium. I don't remember if he won a GP before, but I said, and when you talk with the kid, he's telling you that he wants to be world champion. I said, it's way too much. I mean, I don't know how to organize that. And Giacomo actually helped me a lot on that, and he said, okay, it's the same. If we have good bikes, it was like, if we have good bikes, I will be behind. If there is any problem, don't worry. We have the support of Honda. It will be all good. And he had a good relationship with Geico already. So we started to work on a partnership with Geico where we could buy engines for the team. So we were sure to have good bikes and all these kind of things. And we arrived on the point that Hunter showed up 10 meters from here at the workshop with his dad, and he was in the team.
Wow.
And yeah, for me, it was a little bit like, whew, wow.
Yeah.
Kind of excited and scared, like just like too much. But at the end, he did 2 podiums. We were definitely not good enough at this stage, I think, for a rider like him. But we did our best. I don't think he can complain on how we worked for him. We did everything we could, and he did a pretty good season. So yeah, for us it was. I mean, for me it was tough. Like, started from a small project in EMX 250 and being with Hunter Lawrence, that was the star at the moment in Europe. Like everyone was talking about him because he signed with Geico, because all these stories. So it was a lot of pressure, but at the end, I think we did pretty good. I mean, not so bad. Or
was it that year that the Motocross of Nations that he was it that year that you signed? Yeah. So it was really full on. But I mean, you have that tenacity inside you, Livia, to take on board challenges which other people shy away from, and that stickability that if I go step by step, we can tick that box, and then we can go on and we can tick the next box. And then for Mitch Evans, Livia, like that did you feel in that second season you were slightly more comfortable in the role? Because Mitch did awesome and also scored a ride from the successive year, and then continued to 2020. So do you feel you actually have developed as a person within the role itself?
Yes, sure. Because at the beginning, I was. It's hard for me to be the boss of a full staff. It's something that you have to learn. It's not something that you're just good with it. And also because a lot of reason, I'm a woman. I mean, you know how it is to be in this position in this world. And okay, I'm really lucky that I am world champion, because I don't want to be this person without the titles that I have behind, because this actually gives respect, at least with everyone. But still, I'm a woman. When I started the team, I was 30 years old, so not that old comparing to my chief mechanic, for example, on all these persons. So quite young woman, and new. in this role. So it was just hard to be able to be the good boss, like that everyone could respect me, but not be too bad, like on being always, let's say, an asshole, like these kind of things.
Yeah.
So I had to learn all these things. Also with the riders, I had to learn that I'm not a rider anymore. So I can't be really friends with them, It's not the same role that I had the year before when I was with riders, like just sharing time on the bike or doing cycling, all these kind of things. Now my role was more like being the boss, even if I understand the part of the rider.
Yeah.
So all this was new, was fast. So I had to get all these things. And with Mitch, I found, let's say, the average between all this. So it was already much better, and this year is even better. But with Mitch, it was really easy because he's a really easygoing person. Mitch is really calm, really kind. The family is awesome. Kelly, his mom, helped me on a lot of things when she came over, and we talked a lot, like we shared a lot of things about Mitch, and so it was easier, like to get where we wanted. And he did a great season. I mean, he crashed in Germany, and after that it starts to be a little bit bad because he crashed hard on his head, and we know how hard it is to come back from head injury. So after that it was harder. But he's a great rider, and I felt good working with him. And let's say that after a while, I start to have more confidence with me, to be able to give them advices on the track, like telling him, okay, I saw that, just try. If you want to try, if you don't want, I won't take it bad. It's just like, I think this, maybe you should try. And sometimes it was working, sometimes he came back like, yeah, actually it was great. So all these kind of things helped me to feel better in my role, and then to push even more, like to look more, because I know that they trust me, and this is for me a really big step.
It's and I know we shouldn't find the inequalities of being a woman champion in a world championship, but there are, and it doesn't stop at the inequalities of opportunities. It goes to financial, right across the board. I don't know where the improvements will be. I find it difficult working in media because it carries over to myself as a woman in motorsport. I don't quite get, oh, are you here to cook the sausages? I don't quite get that comment anymore, but that's been, it's definitely a challenge. Can we look at what you've achieved just in your own personal and professional career to gain a title in 2008, and then to follow it up 8 years later, Livia? And I was there in Essen, and it brought tears to my eyes because, and I didn't know you very well at all. Down in New Zealand, we are well and truly far away, but it's an amazing attribute that you have of perseverance. Let's just, before I put the question to you, let's just have a look. I just got a little take on that final race at Essen.
Everything else in riding, I saw the first time when Nancy came back, I was sure that she would try to take me out, and she did, but she crashed. So it gave me more laps to breathe a little bit and try to focus, but I couldn't. It was not possible. It was not me on the bike, I was just thinking to not do any mistake, and finally I was not focused on riding, and she came back again, and I really wanted to finish this championship on the first moto, so tried to give up until the end, and I did, so I'm really happy. Thank you.
Papa, une photo? Oui. Yeah. Sorry. Maybe we can... Encore une photo avec... Autour là, tout le monde autour là. Allez, autour. Allez.
I think probably what is so tough is in the WMX, the points are always, the racing's so close, and with only so few rounds, you know, one DNF is really the end, you know, unless, you know, a miracle happened. But there's a flip side to the coin, Livia. When it is so tight like that, you dig into your reserves of mental strength, I suppose, and continue on what you want to achieve. How do you think winning your 2 titles has made you into the person you are, who was able to take up Garibaldi's offer?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mix of a lot of things. I think it's a mix with the way my parents raised me, like all the education stuff, you know. My mom always taught me to give everything when I'm doing something, in sport, in life, you know, like all this. And I think that this is the base of being able to be world champion one day, because you are not world champion just by being lucky, you know. It's just not possible. In motocross and in all the sports, you know, it doesn't exist. You have to sacrifice everything. You have to work your ass off every day. And I think, as you said, with motocross and a small amount of races, it's even harder, because you play a title like they would play a medal at the Olympic Games. You know, it's the same kind of things. It's almost a one event title, because 5 races, 6 races is like nothing when you are only 3 or 4 girls to be able to be world champion. Because you are always playing between 1 and 4th, or 1 and 5. Even on a bad day, even when you crash at the start, you come back on that top, let's say top 3. All those girls that are fighting for the title, they come back on the top 3 even if they crash. So that's why it makes it hard. And then you have all the mechanical issue that you can add on this. That I think that I've been the most unlucky rider in the world with this. So all these kind of things make you learn how hard is life, let's say. You know, like you can work really hard during the full winter and do well the full season, and just get a small injury at one point, and you miss the last round, and you lose everything. Then you have the mechanical issue that for no reason, just a bad luck moment, you can't finish the championship neither. You know, like all these kind of things, I think is building that mental strength that you're talking. Because you have to learn how to stand up again after that. And I think that this is what I have now in the normal work life, because when there is a problem, when there is or all this is almost nothing comparing to losing a world title. This feeling of you worked month and month to just lose a title at the last moment, you know, like this pain that you have when you're losing the title for 1 point, or for, you know, like just nothing matters after that, almost, you know. So I think, all this learned me a lot of things in my personal life right now.
Okay. And even though you have to thank Garibaldi, I mean, he tried the first time and he didn't succeed, but he came back, Livia, and he was definitely determined that that you were the person that was going to fulfill what he wanted to achieve. And he, there's insight in his own thinking as well. And obviously there was some level of trust because, yeah, I mean, we can say it, you're a woman in the GP paddock.
For sure, I can't thank Giacomo Garibaldi enough for the trust that he put on me to start all this this adventure, let's say, with the team. Because as you said, he really pushed. Like, I refused the first time, then he came back again, and he was always there. Like when I was racing 2016, 2017. You could see him around sometimes, like just walking in front of the team, like looking a little bit the bikes, looking the tents, the setup, and looking at my, not really at my races, but he knew the results. But it's not like he was really looking at me riding, like he kind of didn't care about this, but it was more like, yeah, looking at all the rest. And that's right, like he showed up 2 times with this idea, and he really trusted me when I won't say when nobody did, because I had offers, I had possibility to do something else, definitely. But he was the one that showed up with the idea that I wanted, and the idea that I was working for already since a long time. Because when I did my own team, it was, the first reason was because I was not feeling 100% good on the teams I was, but also because I knew that this was an opportunity after my riding career to stay in the paddock. So that's why I started working this way. That's why I took Axel when he was in 85, because I think it was important for me to start with a young kid and grow up with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, Giacomo trusted me on that, and it worked, as you said, with the first year, and then the year with Mitch last year, and it worked. But now I have more offer to be team manager somewhere else. But, I almost want to say to them, hey, it's too late, You should come 2 years ago, like Giacomo did. And I definitely owe him all the situation because he trusted me at the right moment.
Yeah. I kind of think it goes 2 ways, Livia, because if you weren't the person that you are, you wouldn't have produced the results that you have in just 2 seasons. And with Adjamo, he knew that there was going to be success in trusting you. You had to deliver the results regardless. Yeah. So
no, for sure, it's not just, as you said, it's 2 ways, because it's not like he just gave me everything and it was easy. No, he helped me. He gave me the trust. He gave me the contacts with Honda and few sponsors, but I had to find the budget. I had to know how much budget I need, and then to find the budget I need. So it was like all that work that I had to do, and he's definitely helping when I have a problem. But he's around, he has a look on everything, but he's not working for the team. He's just supervising and helping me when I have a problem. So yeah, definitely it goes 2 ways. It's not just like he gave me a full package ready. No, he gave me a trust to organize that package. But definitely he's helping. We had to learn how to work together the way he wanted me to be a team manager, the way he was. He is actually with HRC. But yeah, I learned so much from him. And I think that he's one of the best person I can learn from in this paddock. So no, definitely it's both ways. But yeah, without him, I'm not sure I would be team manager today in MX2.
Wow. Okay. Okay, just to sort of finish off, even given the huge disruption we've had over, well, it's 3 months, is it already? You do sound, Livia, like you're in a really good space in your role, and things have flowed on in such a forward movement and in a positive direction. Do you place any expectations on you for when we start back up again? Do you feel that you need to have your riders produce results within some sort of ranking? What are your thoughts when we do get to race?
I mean, it's a little bit hard because okay, let's say that the goal of the team is to be top 10. This is what Honda wants, because we are not the factory team, so we are not here to win races. Normally, it's the role of the factory team. So let's say that the goal is a top 10. Definitely, my goal is to win. As Giacomo, I never was behind a gate to be top 10. It's not in my blood, So we do everything we can to be as good as possible, even if winning is a little bit tough right now. But it's still in the goals, like we want to do our best and as high as we can in the ranking. So it's not a pressure from Honda or from the sponsors. It's just the pressure that I have for, let's say, for myself,
Mm-hmm.
But then now we have a new problem is all this situation with that COVID. I'm scared about all the economic side. All this lockdown, of course, was not good for all the companies that are in the motocross paddock, even motorsports generally. So now I'm a little bit scared that it's not the year that it's definitely not the year that we need to be only top 10, top 15, because probably next year we don't know how it will be with sponsors, with everything. So of course I'm worried, I think, as everyone, because the all the economical problem that comes from this is not, I think, only not for this year, and will just follow for next year. So it's more about this that I'm worried. So of course a really good result would help on that situation. So but I don't want to put more pressure on the riders, it's just like we all want to do our best all the time. So being scared of that economical problem is not going to give us more work, because we are already working as hard as we can. So let's say that a good result before the end of the year will just put this pressure a little bit down.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose time will be a great healer in sorting out things back to a normal. Well, it's been a pleasure, Livia. Thank you very, very much. It's a first, and I hope it's not the last, because you've got so much to share. And there's only one thing that's come out of this, is that like yourself, you have time to talk. Normally, I suppose, we wouldn't be able to sit down and chat. So I'm very grateful, and also my utmost respect to what you've achieved, and to the role that you are in now. I think it's definitely sets a benchmark for many women in the industry who think that after riding there's nothing left, but you've just proved that there is, and I think that is definitely one for the history books for the future girls. So
no, I think, thank you for that interview, and it was a pleasure, and anytime, just to answer what you said before, and also just to finish on just what you said. I think that there is a lot of opportunities for the girls in this world. I mean, if you look at the paddock right now, there is girls that were riding before that are working now in the industry. I think about Nikki Scott, myself, and some girls in the US as well that I know. So I think that for person that wants to work and are smart enough to learn fast and listen what we need. Of course, if you just show up and be like, yeah, I was riding before, I'm a girl. In this world, it doesn't work.
No.
So if you are smart enough to find your place, there is place for women in this paddock, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. As long as we have role models like Livia Lancelot at the top.
Okay, that's maybe a little bit too much, but I'm happy to help if someone needs something.
Okay. Thank you so much, Livia.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye.